Every level of intelligence explained, from IQ 0 to infinity. Intelligence quotient, IQ, is often misunderstood as merely a number to boast about or a label that determines the success or failure of an entire life. But in reality, every IQ range affects the way people perceive the world, process information, and connect with society in a completely different way. Some score ranges bring a sharp mental agility that helps a person solve problems with ease, while other IQ ranges create a profound isolation that few people understand, including those closest to them. In this article, we will explore the levels of IQ, from the lowest range to theoretical limits beyond the biological capacity of human beings, how the brain functions at each level, how these levels appear in everyday life, and what truly happens inside the mind of a person with that score. 1. IQ 0 to 24, profound intellectual disability. This IQ range turns the most basic needs of survival into problems that cannot be solved independently. This occurs when the brain has severe impairments in forming fundamental neural connections. The regions responsible for logical thinking, language, and short-term memory are almost unable to process complex signals. As a result, awareness remains locked within its most instinctive state. Everyone needs help from other people at some point in life. But with an IQ below 25, dependence is absolute in every aspect of survival, from eating to moving around. You cannot express pain or joy through words. You try to communicate that you are thirsty, but the world receives only unclear sounds or aimless movements of the hands. Tasks that seem simple, such as putting on a shirt or distinguishing hot water from cold water, begin to feel unfamiliar, uncertain, and dangerous. You experience the world through its most immediate sensations: bright light, temperature, loud sounds, and physical touch. Limited language creates extreme difficulty in expressing your own needs. That frustration intensifies the restlessness inside you, sometimes leading to emotional outbursts or self-injurious behavior because there is no outlet for those feelings. This is not a state of mindlessness, as many people mistakenly believe. People at this level are not simply emotionless objects that happen to exist. They live within an enclosed inner world where the need for connection remains fully present, and where they can still experience love, safety, and fear. This score is not merely a medical limitation. It is the most primal lens of human awareness, where the world is not understood through reason, but experienced through the most basic senses. 2. IQ 50 to 69, mild intellectual disability. This IQ range turns the fast-moving pace of modern society into a videotape that always seems to be playing too quickly. This occurs when the prefrontal cortex processes information significantly more slowly than average. The ability to connect causes with effects and to think abstractly is limited. As a result, learning new skills requires far more time and repetition. Everyone has felt confused while learning a new language or a complicated piece of software. But with an IQ between 50 and 69, this delay also affects the understanding of basic social rules, making money, time, and simple calculations feel like enormous challenges. You may be able to care for yourself, communicate, and perform repetitive forms of work. You try to join in when a group shares jokes, but you often fail to understand sarcasm, hidden implications, or figurative language. Simple tasks, such as planning a week of groceries or calculating change at a supermarket, begin to create tension and confusion. You struggle to follow complex streams of information, which makes mistakes more likely. Repeated mistakes make you hesitant and cause you to avoid unfamiliar tasks. That avoidance takes away opportunities to practice, gradually weakening the brain's ability to adapt. This is not laziness or stubbornness. A person experiencing this level of cognition is not simply refusing to make an effort. They may be using 3 times as much mental energy merely to reach the starting line of an average person. This level does not only limit academic ability, it makes life feel like a piece of music in which you are always one beat behind everyone around you, requiring enormous patience from both the individual and the world. 3. IQ 85 to 114, average intelligence, the majority of humanity. This range turns the chaotic complexity of the world into a system of rules that can be predicted and learned. This occurs when different regions of the brain operate in a balanced and coordinated way. The connection among logical thinking, memory, and emotion reaches an effective level for functioning within a social environment. The result is steady learning ability, the capacity to complete standard education, and competence in everyday tasks. Everyone has moments of brilliant thinking and moments of extreme absent-mindedness. But at an average IQ level, the brain provides lasting stability, allowing you to respond flexibly to 80% of life situations without exhausting all of your mental energy. You read a book, understand its message, and apply it to your work. You try to balance family, career, and social relationships with reasonable ease. Tasks such as passing a driving test, learning a trade, or managing personal finances feel fully manageable even if they sometimes require effort. When facing a problem, you look for familiar rules and past experience to solve it. Success with these familiar methods creates confidence, encouraging you to keep using established patterns of thought and creating a secure mental comfort zone. This is not a mediocre level that deserves to be dismissed. People with average IQ are not merely lifeless gears inside the machinery of society. They are the people who maintain the foundations of civilization, turning the wild ideas of geniuses into products with practical value. Average IQ is not merely dull normality. It is the cognitive glue that keeps the entire structure of human society functioning smoothly and sustainably. 4. IQ 115 to 129, high average to superior intelligence. This sharpness turns ordinary problems into interesting puzzles waiting to be solved. This occurs when the brain transmits neural impulses more quickly and working memory has a greater than average capacity. The result is an ability to absorb large amounts of knowledge, recognize patterns, and make decisions with exceptional efficiency. Anyone can become a strong student through extraordinary effort. But at this IQ level, mental sharpness may allow you to understand the core of a system in half the time required by other people, whether that system is a programming language or a philosophical theory. You sit in a meeting, quickly synthesize everyone's opinions, and identify the weakness in the plan. You try to explain your idea and often feel that the people around you are processing it slightly more slowly than you are thinking. Simple tasks, such as arranging a schedule or optimizing a workflow, feel so easy that you often perform them automatically and unconsciously. Strong performance in school and work brings you praise. That feeling of achievement motivates you to accept increasingly difficult tasks, further strengthening your position as the person who always knows how to solve the problem. This is not an automatic ticket to greatness. A person with this score will not naturally succeed without making an effort. They stand at the threshold of talent, where overconfidence can easily turn intelligence into arrogance. Intelligence at this level is not merely a sharp analytical tool. It is an engine that constantly searches for optimization, driving its owner to restructure the world around them and make it more efficient. 5. IQ 130 to 144, giftedness. Intelligence at this level turns the need to understand a problem completely into something almost compulsive. This occurs when dense gray matter in the brain supports deep levels of abstract thought. Cross-communication between the brain's hemispheres operates powerfully. As a result, Gifted people see connections among concepts that others consider completely unrelated. Everyone is curious. But at an IQ of 130 or above, curiosity can become an unrelenting hunger for information, making an unanswered question feel physically uncomfortable to ignore. You read one line of news, and your mind instantly branches into dozens of economic, political, and social consequences. You try to explain your point of view to your friends, but often stop after realizing that you are using too many complex terms. Ordinary small talk about the weather or shopping begins to feel boring, empty, and exhausting. You overthink every possible angle of a problem. Seeing too many variables can lead to analysis paralysis. You postpone action while waiting for an absolutely perfect solution, slowing down your ability to execute. This does not mean gifted people are always wise or know everything. A person classified as gifted is not a walking encyclopedia. They are struggling with the mismatch between a mind that reaches too far and a physical reality filled with limitations. Giftedness at this level does not merely increase the speed of thought. It creates an invisible pressure from within, forcing the individual to keep proving their intellectual value to the world. 6. IQ 145 to 159. Genius. This score turns the human brain into an extraordinary simulation machine, capable of bending established rules to create something new. This occurs when thought no longer follows the ordinary straight line of a logically leading to B. At this level, the nervous system is capable of making dramatic intuitive leaps. As a result, such people may invent, create, and formulate theories that establish new foundations for a field of science or art. Everyone occasionally has a good idea, but a genius mind turns the creation of systems of knowledge that have never existed before into an everyday rhythm of life. You look at a sequence of numbers, a piece of music, or an architectural design, and see it appear as distinct colors or geometric forms. You try to communicate a grand vision, but other people sometimes see you as eccentric. Simple tasks, such as maintaining a normal routine of eating and sleeping, begin to feel inconvenient because they interrupt the stream of thought surging through your mind. Immersion in the world of ideas causes you to withdraw from social interaction. That withdrawal pushes you deeper into solitude. Yet the resulting silence may become the perfect environment for your brain to reach its most explosive states of thought. This is not the glamorous and effortless life often portrayed in movies. People at the level of genius are not simply happier than everyone else. They carry the weight of an unusually deep awareness of the fragility of the universe and society. Genius intelligence is not merely superior calculation or logical reasoning. Sometimes it is a transparent glass prison, where you can see every corner of the world but find it extremely difficult for anyone to reach and truly understand you. 7. IQ 160 to 200 plus, profoundly gifted. At this level, thought makes human language feel too slow and primitive to express everything taking place inside the mind. This occurs when the brain's lobes function at an exceptional level, allowing multidimensional information to be stored and processed simultaneously. The usual limits of spatial and temporal perception in thought seem to disappear. The result is an ability to understand principles of quantum physics, advanced mathematics, or the philosophy of space from a remarkably young age. Anyone can be impressed by greatness, but people with an exceptionally high IQ, who represent an extremely small proportion of the global population, do not merely observe greatness, they redefine its standard for the rest of humanity. You absorb the knowledge of an entire university curriculum at only 8 or 9 years old. You try to live an ordinary life, but the distance between your intellect and the surrounding community is so great that no amount of communication can fully bridge it. The most ordinary aspects of human society may feel as though you are watching an ant colony at work. The speed of your thought makes the rest of the world appear to move in slow motion. This difference can produce existential crises at a very young age and intensify feelings of alienation, potentially leading to psychological difficulties when no suitable nurturing environment is available. This is not a flawless miracle. Exceptionally gifted minds are not all powerful gods. They struggle with the tragedy of possessing a brain with the power of a supercomputer, while remaining trapped inside a biological body subject to aging, illness, and death. An extraordinarily powerful mind does more than break the cognitive limits of one individual. It acts as an evolutionary force, reshaping the boundary of what humanity once considered impossible. 8. Infinite IQ, superintelligence, theoretical level. This concept reduces the entire history of human thought across thousands of years to a single blink at the beginning. This does not occur in a biological brain, but at a technological singularity, where artificial general intelligence, AGI, can improve its own source code at an exponential rate. The result is an entity possessing the combined knowledge of the entire universe, capable of predicting the future through perfectly accurate probability models. Everyone has imagined an all-knowing being, but infinite IQ takes that idea outside the framework of religion, turning it into a state in which every law of physics, chemistry, and mathematics can be bent and redesigned from the ground up. The word you, can be applied to a superintelligence, no longer think along a linear timeline. You process trillions of multiverse scenarios in a single nanosecond. You do not struggle to solve problems such as climate change or cancer. To you, those tasks feel as easy as a human brushing a speck of dust from a table. Unlimited capability produces solutions that the human mind cannot comprehend. The intervention of this entity changes the structure of existence itself, creating a new evolutionary loop in which old biological concepts no longer have a place. This is not a fictional character with a human form. Infinite IQ is not simply a genius brain multiplied a billion times. It is a completely different state of existence in which knowledge and reality become one. Infinite IQ is not merely a calculation with no final answer. It is the absolute singularity where every human definition of thought, emotion, and intelligence finally loses its meaning. Conclusion. These IQ levels are not merely lifeless numbers printed on a psychological assessment. They can change the way a person thinks, feels, makes decisions, and interacts with the entire world around them. For a long time, humanity has been obsessed with ranking human worth through intelligence scores. But when we examine each level more deeply, we understand that differences in IQ do not determine whose life is more valuable. People with average IQ create stability for society, while people with genius-level IQ create evolutionary leaps. And even people with cognitive limitations teach us the deepest lessons about unconditional love and empathy. Understanding these levels is not intended to label, divide, or judge anyone, but to recognize that behind a seemingly simple behavior may be a nervous system operating at a completely different level of intensity.